All right, good morning, everybody. We're back. It's been a few minutes since we've done a video recap, but we did some terrible trading today, so I wanted to break it down over voice for the boys in the Discord. So here's our open trade today. This was just a disaster. This set our whole day off in a terrible, terrible way. We opened up weak. We came back with a pretty light volume. This candle right here is initially what got me interested. This two candle setup from the first minute. This is what got me interested in potentially taking this short. However, if this candle right here, this shooting star, high volume, relatively speaking, I mean, this is a high volume pullback to the VWAP. This does not fit our category. Obviously, there's a lot of strength to the downside. You can see how wicky we are down here. Lots of volume. This was VPOC. I mean, you can tell after this price shot up, this still held VPOC. So obviously there was a lot of buying going down here. One of the more obvious things you can see. But I decided I wanted to go short. Here's what happened. I hit my stream deck, it didn't work. Hit my stream deck, didn't work. Hit my stream deck, but this time I accidentally double-clicked it. And then my DOS froze. I ended up with two positions. And I got squeezed immediately. Just an immediate squeeze. While my DOS was frozen. Thank God I got stopped out. This would have been a total disaster if I got squeezed up to 40.90. With double the amount of shares, I got really, really lucky here. And then I panicked. Because I saw the squeeze go up, and I was pretty upset with myself for taking this trade. I was upset that my DOS froze. So what do you do when that happens? You overtrade. So what do we do next? We immediately jump over to Pinterest. This is a minute later. We see it come down with a pretty decent sized volume, light volume pullback. Again, a heavy volume pullback. What am I doing? I'm entering it short on a heavy volume pullback. We've got ourselves a shooting star here. Everything about this says that this stock is not going to go back down. However, we forced it. What happens? Immediate squeeze, stopped out. This actually was pretty unfortunate too, because when I set my original stop loss, I thought my entry was going to be up here, but this is on short share restricted. You can see up here on our montage. So I actually got a really, really bad fill. Really bad fill. It was supposed to be up here. I was trying to get it on the pullback from the moving average. That was the attempt. Idiot. All right. We made two more trades today. The first is MVIS. This was the bad trade. Let's start with this one first. Again, we just got stopped out. We're pretty frustrated. We're pretty upset. Let's see. That would have been, when did we get stopped out of Pinterest? Stopped out at 39, 38, 938. So what do we do? We hop in here about a minute later. What we saw here was a surprisingly low volume to open. This is kind of rare. Kind of came down. Came back up strong on heavy volume. We did set a lot of wicks to the top side. You can see we got ourselves a really big shooting star here. And then as volume started to kind of pull back down, I jumped the gun. I went long right here. This was a long play. Instead of following my rules, waiting for the candle to close, I always want to wait for this 2-minute candle to close right here on these types of plays. This is now the third straight play this morning. I did not wait for my confirmation. What happens? I literally get squeezed out within a minute, right? So, like, it's just bad trading. Why am I trading like this? I'm trading because I'm down and I'm frustrated. My DOS froze. I over-leveraged. I took too big of a loss. I felt like I needed to catch up. And I just made poor trades. That's all there is to it. All right, so at this point, after this trade right here, I was pissed. I have a 5-minute chill out button on my hotkey, or on my stream deck. Went ahead, hit that, stepped away, regrouped, grabbed some fresh air, came back a little bit later, recentered, refocused. What I was looking at here is I actually started watching this right about here. Oh, let me grab my pencil. Started watching it right about here. What I liked about this stock specifically is you can see we're getting a lot of wicks to the downside. This really was not that big a volume on this short squeeze here. You can see not big at all. We started to pull back up. I didn't get in here because you can see we had descending volume. But it didn't look like a lot of support. So I just kind of waited. We finally popped above. I was not going to enter this if we were below VWAP. I was not going to enter it for a long trade. especially after this test right here. I was long biased, but I was going to wait. That's for damn sure. I was going to wait for the 2 minute. All right, that's just what was going to happen. So we went ahead. We closed above VWAP, started to show some heavier volume increase. I went ahead and took it long. We then kind of sat for a second, just kind of bounced. I was a little bit nervous. This was a daily level we had set here at 2280. We came up and tested it. I got a little bit nervous, but as you can see, our pullback here, we have descending volume. This is what we're looking for on these types of plays once we have a pullback that we think we're going to bounce off of. So I added to this position, especially this weak volume. This was my target, or this was my moment, right? This was the key. This low volume right here is what ultimately made me add to my position. Glad I did, because then we go. So I covered at this daily level just a little bit. Because I did add to my position, I felt comfortable covering there. I just wasn't 100% certain that we were going to break this at this point. It had held earlier in pre-market. We did pop through it on heavy volume earlier, but being down as much as I was today, I needed a win. Okay, guys, I needed a win. And then we kind of stalled there. I was thinking, okay, that's good. And then I covered at R2, covered a little bit more at R2. Then I covered right here at our high of day. That's what this level is right here. And then I covered at the break of our higher day. This is where I panicked. I covered at 24. We started to come back. I then covered at R3. You can then see we set VPOC hard here. At this point, you can see right there. You can see my orange dashed line. There it is. That's volume point of control. At that point, we threw up a hammer, started to get heavy volume. I was starting to get a little skittish. So I went ahead, covered at the break of R3. At this point, I had just a couple of shares remaining. I put a trailing stop loss on of 20 cents. And there we go. Stopped out. Ultimately, I do think this ended up bouncing back to the 9 and then coming back up. Yeah, sure did. Here's our 5 minute. Yeah, right there. Came back to our 9, popped. Probably should have held it, but to be honest, I was down so much today. I just needed, like I said, I needed a win. I needed to get some shares off. So ultimately, this trade was really nice. Still really struggling with those losers in the morning, guys. Really struggling with that. I gotta build the psych up. I got to stop forcing trades when I'm in panic mode. So all in all, I'm down 1.5 R today. Max loss is 3 R, so we're well inside of that range. Basically, I just gave back my winnings from yesterday. I did a one and done on NIO. All right. Sorry for the long recap, everybody. Had a lot of emotions, a lot of trades to discuss. That's why I wanted to do video instead of text. All right. Thank you. Have a great day. Stay green. Don't force trades. Take care.